All right, now we're going to continue with chapter 14 of Where the Red Fern Grows. And when I had paused in the middle of this chapter, Billy had talked to his grandpa, and his grandpa had entered him, he found out, in a competition for coonhounds, and so they were going to be heading to the competition, and he had just talked to his dad about going as well, and his little sister was wanting to get his gold trophy that she was sure he was going to win. So let's continue. That night I dreamed about gold cups, little red hounds, and coons as big as rain barrels. Once I woke myself up, whooping to my dogs. The next few days were busy ones for me. Knowing that Papa and I would be gone for several days, I did everything I could to make things convenient for Mama. I chopped a large pile of wood and stacked it close to the kitchen door. To make it easy for her to feed our stock, I cut some poles from the hillside and boxed up one of the stalls in the barn. I filled it full of hay so she wouldn't have to climb the ladder to the loft. Papa laid down the law to my sisters about being good and helping Mama while we were gone. The day before we were to leave, I was as nervous as a June bug in a hen house. The day seemed endless. A few of the miserable hours were spent talking to my dogs. I told them all about the big hunt and how important it was. Now, if you don't win the golden cup, I said, I won't be mad because I know you will do your best. Old Dan wouldn't even look at me and paid no attention to what I said. He was sulking because I hadn't been taking him hunting. And when I talked to little Ann, it was different. She listened and seemed to understand everything I said. I dreaded to go to bed that night. I thought sleep would be impossible. I must have been more tired than I thought I was. I fell asleep almost immediately. Old Red, our rooster, woke me at daybreak, crowing his fool head off. It was a beautiful morning, clear and frosty. After a good breakfast, we kissed Mama goodbye and started for the store. I'm sure there were a lot of coon hunters in the Ozarks, but on that morning none could have felt as big and as important as I. Walking along by the side of my father, I threw out my chest and tried hard to keep pace with his long strides. He noticed and laughed. You'll have to grow a little bit, he said, before you can take steps that long. I didn't say anything, I just smiled. Hearing a noise overhead, I looked up. The gray ones were winging their way southward. I listened to their talking and wondered what they were saying. Looking to the mountains around us, I saw that the mysterious artist who comes at night had paid us a visit. I wondered how he could paint so many different colors in one night, red, wine, yellow, and rust. My dogs were trotting along in front of us. I smiled at the way their hindquarters shifted to the right. Little Ann would jump and bounce and try to get old Dan to play, but the solemn old boy just jogged along, heedless of everything. You know, Papa said, she doesn't even act like a hound. She is bouncing and playing all the time. Why, she acts more like a little pup than a hound. Yes, I know, I said. I've noticed that myself. But you know one thing, Papa? She's the smartest dog I've ever seen. Why, some of the things she does are almost unbelievable. Yes, I know, said Papa, but still it's strange, very strange. There's only one thing wrong with her, Papa, I said. Yeah, what's that? Yes. You won't believe it, I said, but she's gun-shy. Gun-shy? How do you know she's gun-shy? Papa asked. I didn't know for a long time, I said, until one day when I was hoeing corn down in the field by the old slough. She and old Dan were digging in a bank after a groundhog. Across the river, some fishermen started shooting a gun. It scared little Ann, and she came running to me, shaking all over. Aw, Papa said, maybe you just thought she was scared. No, I didn't, Papa. I said, it happened again up at the store one day. Grandpa shot a chicken hawk. When the gun went off, it scared her half to death. No, she's gun-shy, all right. Aw, well, Papa said, that doesn't mean anything. A lot of dogs afraid of guns. I know, I said, but you wouldn't think she would be that way. I believe if I had a gun of my own, I could break her of being gun-shy. Papa looked at me. He said, from what your mother says, you won't be getting a gun for some time yet. Yeah, I know, I said. When we reached the store, we saw the team was already hitched to the buggy and was standing in front of the store. Grandpa had loaded the tent and several boxes of groceries. I had never seen him in such high spirits. He slapped Papa on the back, saying, I'm sure glad you could go with us. It'll do you good to get out once in a while. Papa laughed and said it looked like I had to go or have everyone in the family mad at me. Looking in the buggy, I saw my axe. I didn't think I ever wanted to see it again, but for some reason, it didn't look like what I thought it would. There was no blood on it, and it looked harmless enough, laying there all clean and bright. Grandpa saw me looking at it, and he came over. I kept it a few days, he said, just in case the marshal wanted to ask some questions. Everything seems to be all right now, and we may need a good axe on this hunt. Grandpa sensed how I felt about the axe. He waited in silence for my answer. The excitement of the hunt was so strong in me, even the sight of the axe brought back only a fleeting remembrance of Reuben's accident. I said, yes, we will need one. Besides, it's a good one, and there's no use in throwing it away. Grandpa laughed, reached over, and screwed my cap around on my head, saying, "That's the boy. That's what I wanted you to say. Now, you better go to the barn and get some hay and make a bed in the buggy box for your dogs." "Ah, Grandpa," I said, "they can walk. They don't ever get tired. Besides, they're used to walking." "Walk!" Grandpa almost shouted. "They're not going to walk. No, sir, not if I can help it. You want them to be footsore when we get there?" Papa chuckled and said, "We can't win a gold cup with new sore-footed hounds, can we?" "Of course not," Grandpa said. "Now you go and get that hay like I said." As I turned to go to the barn, I couldn't help but smile. It made me feel good to have my papa and grandpa so concerned about my dogs. I had taken only a few steps when Grandpa said, "Oh, wait a minute." I stopped and turned around. Walking up to me and glancing toward the house as he did, he whispered, "In that empty kraut barrel in the harness room, there's a jug of corn liquor. Cover it up in the hay so your grandma won't see it, and bring it back with you." With a twinkle in his eye, he said, "You never can tell when we'll need some medicine." I knew my father wouldn't drink any of the liquor, but if Grandpa wanted to take along a whole barrel, it was all right with me. Just when I thought we were ready to leave, Grandma came bustling out. Grandpa got nervous. He whispered and asked, "Did you hide the jug good?" I nodded my head. Grandma handed Grandpa a pair of long-handle underwear and a scarf, saying, "I knew you'd forget something." Grandpa snorted, but knew there was no use arguing with her. She started picking around in the groceries, asking about salt, pepper, and matches. "Nanny, we've got everything," he said. "You must think I'm a baby and don't know how to pack a grub box." "A baby?" Grandma snorted. "Why, you're worse than a baby. At least they have a little sense. You don't have any at all. An old codger like you out chasing a coon all over the hills?" At her biting remark, I thought Grandpa was going to blow up. He snorted like Daisy, our milk cow, when she had seen a booger. I crawled up in the boogie box with my dogs and hung my feet out. Grandpa came over and asked me about warm clothes. I told her I had plenty. She kissed me goodbye, and we were on our way. All right, guys, predictions? Any ideas what might happen on this coon hunt?